Hi, thanks for tuning in to this informal chat about today's autumn statement by the Chancellor. I'm Stan Dunn. This is Phil Thompson on my far right. Together we head up the tax team at Lloyd Dowson. In the middle we have Josh Fox, one of our rising stars. We're all agreed that today's statement was fairly uneventful from a tax point of view, which is not surprising given the number of changes that were announced in the summer budget, and we're going to recap on them later. Hopefully you'll find that of interest. Chancellor focused mainly today on his spendings and on his budget and basically telling everyone what a good job he's doing. Having said that, Josh, what changes did he announce?
Well, sort of one of the major ones was the complete U-turn on tax credits. Mm-hmm. He did receive a lot of pressure on that, so that maybe came as no surprise to any of us that something happened on that. And there's also the extension of small business rates relief, and that's extended for another year.
Yep. He also mentioned some things which perhaps we weren't expecting, which was to do with the stamp duty land tax. That seems to come from nowhere, adding 3% on stamp duty land tax for second homeowners, which comes into effect from April next year. Again, it's something that wasn't expected, but perhaps people want to think about when they will buy their second property to avoid such a charge, really, which could be quite expensive. So that's something...
That's the second homeowner, including buy-to-let?
Absolutely, of which we have a fair few of them. So the timing of purchasing your next buy-to-let is key from that point of view. So that's something that wasn't expected, and we can look at planning for really. Other things he introduced as well was a bit down the line, I suppose, which was this capital gains tax on second homes, buy-to-let properties. It's something he's trying to introduce with what's called the digital tax account, which he's announced in one of his summer budgets, and we are going to expect that everyone has one of these accounts. Now, he's bringing down the capital gains tax payment date to 30 days when these things are introduced. A little bit for the future, but again, it seems a bit more of an attack on landlords, which he's had in his sights for quite some time. So that's something that wasn't expected, slightly new, but something for the future as well.
Absolutely. Looking more imminently, we also have these new Help to Buy ISAs, which are actually starting next month. They're a four-year sequence, up to £12,000 per person, and that essentially can get you a 25% return on your £12,000 when you buy in your property. So it seems
little bonus from the government, basically, isn't it, to encourage first-time buyers and give them a bonus to do it, up to £3,000 tax-free.
Yeah, per person. So if you're in a couple, it doubles up, which is useful. Yeah, very good.
So this is something you'll be investing in, Josh, and probably, probably some parents like myself will probably have to fund it for their kids to encourage them to move out at some point. The other thing that was previously introduced, but which is quite good, is the annual investment allowance coming in 1st of January 2016. And this is basically capital allowances, 100% tax allowances on capital expenditures such as plant, equipment, fixtures and fittings, etc.
Yeah.
It's currently £500,000 or up to £500,000, 100%. Was dropping to 25,000 in January 2016, but is now dropping to 200,000, but then is fixed at that level.
Which is good.
It's great. It's been fluctuating over the last few years. At least businesses can plan now their capital expenditure and know what kind of tax relief they're going to get on it.
Absolutely. A bit of a planning point on this though, Stan, isn't there? Which we need to speak to clients about. I know we're already doing it, but when the drop comes in, it's quite quirky of what you can actually claim. We've mentioned 500,000, we've mentioned it going to 200,000, but what you could actually claim for could be significantly less, particularly in the window after 31st of December.
You've got to speak to us ideally before the end of this year if you're planning on big expenditure.
So don't need to get caught out on that one because it could be quite an expensive thing to suffer. So that's something that guys need to speak to us about, and we can help them. We can help them through that. So that's something that's coming in. Another thing that's announced previously, back to the old rental properties and landlords really with buy-to-lets, is that they are from April next year reducing their getting rid of the wear and tear allowance, the 10% allowance, which is a notional thing really. You'll have to deduct roughly 10% of your rents as an expense, regardless of whether you've spent anything on repairing your property. That's disappearing from April next year, so that's something that our clients are going to be affected by. Slight planning opportunity, I suppose, is whether they can actually save some of their renovation costs that they might be thinking of doing, to put that after April, because this wear and tear allowance is disappearing. It's being replaced by actual expenditure. So that's perhaps a little planning point to look at when that comes in. But that's also the precursor for the one the following year, which is when the loan interest relief, the tax relief on loan interest for high rate taxpayers, is going to be phased out. So there seems to be lots going on for rental properties, and not good either. Still need to have a look at it, and there's still opportunities out there, but just needs a bit more careful planning. And again, we can help with that, I'm sure. So yeah.
And what else has been announced coming in from April 2016?
Well, from April 16, we've had this employers NIC allowance, and that was £2,000. That's now increasing to £3,000. And we also have the employers national insurance for apprentices under 25, and that's been abolished altogether from April 16. So again, good news for employers, really.
It's a little known one on the apprentices under 25, so employers need to be aware of that, otherwise they will miss out.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And the big one coming in from April 2016 is the new tax on dividends.
Yep.
I won't go into full detail on that, but own and managed businesses need to be aware of it, and we need to plan to make sure that dividends are maximised before 5th of April 2016 in order to avoid the heavier tax on dividends the following year. But again, this is something that we're going to have to review very carefully, and people need to talk to us about.
Absolutely, we've been speaking to a lot of people about it already, but it's something that the structure that the people have is still going to be the best. He's gone for low-hanging fruit. He's essentially putting national insurance on dividends. So there's no wholesale changes needed. Unfortunately, the structure that you have is not going to be as effective as it once was, but it's still going to be the best way forward. But the timing of dividends is going to be key to this before it gets introduced. We've also got the other thing that's coming in, which is the farmers' averaging, Stan, as well.
Of course we have, yes. I mean, farmers at the moment, because their profits are prone to fluctuation, as we know, and currently, or the last couple of years particularly, they're allowed to average profits over 2 years at the moment. That's been extended to 5 years. Again, excellent news for farmers. Might make the calculations quite interesting, but it does certainly make it much more flexible. And at the end of the day, it's a tax savings facility that's available only to farmers, and we've got to make sure that we take full advantage of it.
They could do a bit of help right now, and the calculations for us to work out, and not for them, isn't it? So that's for us to sort out for them, really. But other things that were announced today really was to do with the pensions side of things. You know, he introduced what he described as a significant increase, the biggest for a number of years, in the state pension weekly take home to by £3 and a few pence. But the significant one for me was this single tier pension, this new one that's been introduced for newly qualified people who will retire after April next year. He's put a headline out there that says that the rate is just over £155 per week, and it's a set rate. Quite misleading, if I'm honest, because our finance guys have told us that only about 40% of people will get that for various reasons to do with contracting out of their SEPs and stuff in years gone by. So again, if you are coming up to retirement age and you're going to qualify for this new level, you need to have a look at it.
You can get a state pension forecast. You can go online and do it. And that's what you should be doing if you're coming to that age.
Yeah, and if you need any help with that, we can help you out with that. But it was a headline grabber, but it's not all it's cracked up to be. But there we go. So anything else in there as well, Josh?
Looking a bit further ahead, there was the corporation tax cuts. Now in 2020 they will go down to 18%, but phasing down, and in 2017 they'll go to 19% from the current 18%, from the current 20%. So.
Right. Again, currently it's one of the cheapest rates in the world, and it's become even more cheaper by 2020. Again, encouraging investment in this country, which got to be a good thing.
Got to be a good thing. So overall, there was a few things announced today. Only one or two things announced new. There's just to remind everybody all the stuff that's been previously announced, which is coming in the next few months, and there's lots of stuff to be done for landlords, for farmers, the dividends for owner-managed companies in particular, and they need to be speaking to us to make sure that they're doing everything that they need to before these changes come in. So that's our take on things today. Hope you found it useful. If you need to discuss any aspect of that with us, by all means get in touch, or any other aspect about your taxes in general. But thanks for watching.
Thank you.